Where we find crime and justice reporter Matt Johnson standing by live. Matt, give us the very latest, if you would kindly. First time Alex Jones is there at the courthouse today.
Right, that caused a big stir. Good afternoon to you, Julie. So what I can tell you is that Alex Jones didn't actually go inside the courtroom when testimony was underway. It was day 4 of his attorney that he had hired to represent his company, Infowars, at the center of all of this, at the center of his conspiracy theories that caused such great harm to these families of this tragedy. So he arrived here in front of the courthouse steps over there, and he is supposed to be under strict gag order along with anybody else associated with this, whether it be attorneys, someone testifying, an expert, or the people at the heart of all of this, including himself. And yet he went in front of those media cameras and he started to give a statement. Take a listen.
And I followed a lot of the stuff being reported by 4chan that turned out to be wrong. I believe the children died. I've said that over and over again. In my last trial in Texas, when I apologized to the parents and said, I believe your children died, AP and others ran the headline, for the first time ever, Alex Jones says it happened and apologized. That's a lie. I've been apologizing for 6 years. 4 years ago on Joe Rogan, 3 years ago on Steven Crowder. There's hundreds of apologies. But now when I go on shows, they say, do you want to apologize? I go, no. I've apologized over 100 times. I'm not the guy that started questioning Sandy Hook. I did for a while believe it might have been staged. I thought Jussie Smollett was staged. Turned out I was right. I thought WMDs in Iraq were staged. Turned out I was right. But I did not premeditatedly create this whole story to, quote, make money. It's hurt me over the last.
I guess, you know, he still isn't getting the point that he can't talk until he's up there on the stand, Julie. He made an apology. We know that after, you know, the last trial when he was in Texas, something very similar to where his defense team didn't actually comply with the court, and so he was found liable, and then now we're just in a damages stages right now. So, you know, no word yet exactly when he's going to step foot into the courtroom, face these families of this lawsuit, but we are expecting him to testify sometime this week, Julie.
Wow, this is huge, Matt. So many people have been anticipating that time where he's back on the stand again, and today was a little bit of a surprise with him there, as you know. Tell me, please, I understand outside the presence of the jury, the judge was talking about how the defense can ask some questions of the plaintiffs about gun views. What's this about, please?
It was a little bit convoluted, but my takeaway from it is it really, the defense is wanting to question the plaintiffs in this case, and really it's a joint effort here. About 15 families are part of this, and those victims with the Sandy Hook tragedy. So they are going to be allowed to be cross-examined and questioned about their particular gun views. And there was a big, huge pushback, as you would expect, from the plaintiffs' attorneys, because they were saying that we don't want this to get any more political, because that's what seems to happen no matter what we do in this particular case. And also they say it's not a gun issue. It's a question of whether or not, you know, he caused the harm and damages with his lies. But they will be able to be asked those questions, Julie.
Ooh, that'll be interesting, Matt. Tell me, please, day number 4, we're seeing Brittany Paz on the stand. She's with Free Speech Systems, LLC, the corporate designee, if you will. Boy, she's having to share a lot here. What can you share with us in terms of takeaways? What is she really establishing for this jury in terms of what's going to be the money award in the end?
I mean, that's the big question, right? She's been on the stand for 4 days. She's only been employed by this company, the Infowars parent company, Free Speech something, for the past 6 months or so. She says that she hasn't read into all the depositions and she didn't receive all of the past testimony and things that were presented to the court in the past. So that was the big question. It was almost like pulling teeth, getting answers from her, because she didn't seem very knowledgeable in the company itself. But today there was a big focus on infrastructure of the company and how much Alex Jones really plays hand-in-hand part in day-to-day operations. And this stood out to us. Take a listen.
As I'm understanding, and of course Attorney Pattis will articulate it better, as I'm understanding it, their position, or one of their positions, is that the injuries claimed are exaggerated, and partly because of bias or prejudice or whatever you want to call it that the plaintiffs might have towards the defendant because of the issue of guns?
Your Honor, no. That absolutely cannot come into evidence in this case. And the reason why is, first of all, this is intended to open the door on the Soto issues. That's
That door's
absolutely where this
closed,
is
and
headed.
it's not going to be reopened, and it's not going to be re-argued or will be done. Why can't he explore briefly? I'm not talking about making this into a gun case by any means, but no extrinsic. But why can't he briefly explore that issue?
It gets into collateral issues very rapidly, Your Honor. That's one major problem with it. And the other reason is because the plaintiff's interest in however they feel about guns, I mean, that doesn't go to a bias about damages and what their testimony would be about damages. It's like in a malpractice case, you wouldn't allow, or a car wreck case, you wouldn't allow someone to cross-examine on bias against the defendant in connection with their damages. It's beyond the scope of what a normal damages inquiry would look like. And there is an interest in injecting politics into this case. There is an interest in expanding this case into political theater, but that's not what it is. It needs to stay confined to the facts and the evidence.
And again, that was more sound from that motions hearing outside of the presence of the jury. That's really what the victims, the plaintiffs in this case, they're really worried about: more political fodder, more political theater surrounding guns and other issues like that, when in fact they wanted to stay on their loved ones and the words that were chosen by this defendant in his libel suit that he now faces and was found guilty of. And you know, when we were talking about this, we still don't know the upwards of what he could be facing in damages. This is supposed to go on for another 2 weeks. What I can tell you is on the stand right now, so we established with Brittany Paz, that you were talking about just a minute ago, the organizational chart and just how many people work there. So on the stand right now is a media expert, and he worked with the FBI. He was an FBI special agent. He really knows a lot about terrorism and also radicalism and fake news, and he's kind of schooling this jury on how big media companies are and what that can lead to and their audience size. And he's just now started talking about how the audience size of Alex Jones Media Company basically doubled when he started to spread the lies, saying that Sandy Hook was a hoax. Julie?
Wow, this is really something. And Matt, just a reminder, all of our viewers can watch. We've got the trial streaming now on courttv.com.